Hey, what's up? Welcome to Degen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts. Like the not charts behind me, I thought I'd start with just the market heat map from Friday. Everything being so green. I did include this in the Robinhood video that I just put out, and so I thought I'd start with that. And also, I don't think I started with this right away on last week's stream. But cheers, happy Sunday. Hopefully, we all have great weeks in the market, at work, wherever we are. And yeah, cheers to you. Hope you had a great weekend and are enjoying the rest of your Sunday, either watching this streaming with me or, doing something else. And on that note, I was going to put a post on Twitter, just reposting this link just in case some people want to join. I don't see anybody with me now. If you are joining, I can't see that you're here. Drop something in the live chat. Happy to go over a ticker with you. Any tickers that you request, happy to do that. Let's see. Just gotta. Okay, so. I'm just gonna was gonna say something about it, quote it, but I'm just gonna repost it so I don't have to think about it. But yeah, this was pretty green on Friday. Hey, what's up? How's it going, Ricardo? Yeah, happy Sunday. I just started this, and yeah, I was just looking at the market. You know how green it is. I feel like the last time I did one of these live streams, and it was really green on that Friday. Monday was red, just balanced out. So curious to see what will happen tomorrow. Seems like things are going crazy right now. Bitcoin, gold, all of that. So yeah, and I can't remember. I'm not sure if it was you or somebody else. I believe you were asking me to go over. Let's see, TMF. Is that right? This is the 20-year Treasury yields, I believe. I'm not sure. Treasury bonds, and it's 3x leveraged. And so I also pulled up TLT, which I think these are the same, just not 3x leveraged. So this might actually be a better ticker to look at as far as like doing TA. And I feel like that's kind of, the mistake that I made with looking into Boyle too much. I should have been focusing on UNG or, just natural gas like I was doing with TradingView. But yeah, I can do both of these. So like with TMF, I think this was actually during a live stream when I drew this line. I noticed that based on touch points here that you can see. And yeah, it looks like it's above that. And let's see. Yeah, I might look at TLT to see if there's something on that stands out. Let's see if I get the ray tool. Just like connecting these lows, does that mean anything? Does that? Maybe this is something. I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, let's see. It does look like, yeah, near touch points there, touch points here. So maybe that's something. So I think, if TLT seems like it could go higher based on that, the TMF would probably, and these lines could be completely wrong, but based on this line, maybe it is getting into resistance with this low here, but there's no other touch point there, so I don't really feel like that's too significant of a level. Although there is, this gap here, so maybe there is something there. Like, yeah, 557, maybe there'd be some resistance there. Yeah, so maybe it would trade within these levels, but I'm not really sure. I'm not too familiar with ETFs of treasuries and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, and I might, so for this stream, I might just kind of, this is my DGen Ed watch list. I just put stuff in there that I either make videos on or I'm thinking about making videos on. And oh, I guess, I was just mentioning Bitcoin. Oops, I don't want the news. Yeah, this is, above 40K. I don't know if you're into Bitcoin or if you hold it. I had been in it for a while and realized, it was just going down and I was waiting for it to hit 12K and it never did. I, could have bought some down here, but at the same time, I've learned from the past, don't chase things. Don't, I stayed out of it. I'm going to stay out of it. And so my plan is basically to just start dollar cost averaging very slowly, very mildly, starting in 2024, thinking about it as retirement money, because it's so hard to predict this. But what I think would be really funny with Bitcoin is, just largely based on the high being 69,000, I think it'd be just so funny if everybody was saying, oh, it's going to 100,000, it's going to a million, all of that. But then it stops at 42,000 because it's like 420. And then there's a little turnaround here. That would just make me laugh. And, like the Elon Musk saying, fate loves irony, or, something like that, or just, I forget what it is, like the most amusing, the most entertaining outcome is the most likely. Yeah. Miners. Yeah, I feel like it's such a it can be such a volatile market, and then also a lot of the people who are talking about it, it's just people just get so overly bullish about it, like Michael Saylor, for example. uh you know like, I get that it's hard money, I get the value of it, but if I don't have access to billions of dollars, or just a company's treasury to just be throwing into Bitcoin, it matters to me if it drops from 40,000 to 20,000, or 40,000 to 35,000. So yeah, it's really kind of tough to gauge it, but I do feel like Gareth Soloway does technical analysis of it, and yeah, I mean he called the top at 69,000. He actually called for 12K, which did not get hit. But I should have not been greedy, and I should have started adding some. And so I guess there's a lesson to be learned with that. But um, yeah, I mean you got to stick to your plan as well. So, about Google, sure, yeah, happy to do that. And I will actually, we'll add this to the watch list. So let's see, Google. Yeah, I feel like with these mega caps, it's always like it's nice to take a step back and just look at the big picture, because there's so much history with them. So with this, I mean, this kind of reminds me of how, like, for example, with Bitcoin, there were these two peaks, but the second one was higher than the first. And so that, I feel like, I don't know if that'd be like bearish consolidation, but it's trending upwards, so it's more likely to break down. Whereas, where did it go? Google, this is, trending down. I don't know which point I should connect to. Um, and so that makes me feel like this could be breaking out. I think gold actually um, was doing this. I think that there was a higher high and it was forming something like this. And I guess, I'm not really too familiar with, what gold's trading at right now, since the stock market's open. But or not open right now, um, that it's just shot up. So, I mean, I think I have Trading View over here. So yeah, I could look up gold. Sorry if I'm jumping around. If you want me to spend some more time on Google, I'm just curious to see, do this kind of comparison. Yeah, so let's see. I'm not too familiar with Trading View, so um, time frame. I think this is it. So let's look at the hour time frame. Yeah, so this shot up and oh, okay, 'cause this is the hour. I'm like thinking days. Um, yeah, so like I'm so bad at controlling stuff in this, but yeah, so like with gold, there was this. I guess the all-time high was here, and then this is slightly lower. So that was in 2022, I guess. And then for the year, I guess I could say for 2023, there was this high here, and it looked like it was a lower high. So that might make people think that it's. I'll check that comment in a second. Um, like that it's not going up to the all-time high, so it's gonna break down. But that's what causes things to break out and squeeze up like that. So that's pretty cool. I had wanted to get into a gold position, but I tend to spread myself too thin, and then I get emotional with my trading. So it's happy when people make money, but I don't want to spread myself too thin. All right, so do I think SoFi will come back to 6? Let's see. Oh, monthly time frame. Yeah, I do. I mean, just because, yeah, let's look at this. Are these the all-time lows? Yeah, so I mean, the main reason why I think it will come back to 6 is because of these gaps down here. So I think it'll go down to, I believe that's 550, something like that. I mean, it's quite possible too. It could be hitting new all-time lows. So, but at the same time, I mean, I feel like a good amount of people talking about, and this might just be, Reddit, Wall Street Bets, stuff like that. So not necessarily credible. But people like the sentiment around SoFi seems to be pretty bullish. And I think that really just stems from, you know, and actually, I on Twitter, I could pull that up. There's this guy that I've been following. He does technical stuff, looking at Fibonacci levels, and he basically expected it to uh, close at this level. I'm not sure which retracement he used exactly from which points. Maybe from. I mean, I can try it to see if it lines up. Just from here to pretty close. I mean, so yeah, he might have drawn something similar to that. Um, but yeah, I feel like there's a lot of, I mean, yeah, and just like the video that I made today, with this closing above that high, it seems like, yeah, there's that it could be breaking out. But I do think, how long is that going to be lived? It might just be for the month of December because, I feel like since the beginning of November, there's been talk of Santa Claus rally. And then, after Christmas, you tend to, or towards the end of December, you tend to get a lot of people selling their positions to avoid taxes and things like that. So, I mean, I feel like there could definitely be a run up, to fill this gap, possibly, to 1031. Uh, but, I do think that these gaps to the downside will be filled just because it's not so far from them right now, but it also could leave them behind. I was looking at a Tesla chart, and I think I saw a gap for it around $14 or something. That's never going to be filled. So it is possible, but especially with two gaps here, and yeah, I don't know why I drew this all the way out there. I'm just trying to think of. Oh yeah, well I guess it's because it's Yeah, right around actually this level, right around $6 is actually pretty interesting. Here, I'm just going to zoom in on it because you have this gap over here, another gap right in around the same area, and then this gap over here. This you have this um, gap right here that of course was filled here, but it just seems like there's a lot of skipping around 550, around $6. So yeah, I'm curious as to why. That seems like kind of an odd thing, but maybe that's typical. But yeah, I definitely see SoFi coming down. Yeah, and for me, I think yeah, I tend to like I said, get spread too thin, picking up shares, and I think I had a small position in SoFi maybe last week or the week before, but as it was going up, I sold it, just taking a small profit, and that's really just because if I'm in too many positions and then everything goes down, I can't buy as much as I want to, and I run out of money, and then have to put more money into the account, and it gets too emotional. It's like so I took a small profit, and so I have cash on the side. Um, but yeah, I mean that's just what I found for myself. But yeah, this I think also Dish seems like it's really good. That video wasn't too popular. I might actually pull that up unless you guys want me to go over something else. Let's see, Dish. Um, yeah, and so this, I mean, I got to give credit to Gareth Soloway for pointing this out. He was looking at this on the hourly time frame, I believe, and noticed this breakout right here. And then I made a video on it. I thought it was interesting. I took a small position in it, but I sold just because I don't really know that much about Dish. It's not something I'm convicted in, but I do see that it could be coming up to $4.40. And somebody on Twitter and in the comments, I believe of the Dish video, was talking about how it's set up like GameStop was, as far as being very shorted. It is too, like a company that I would think is kind of antiquated, that satellite dishes, but they do. I mean, I've got this profile right here. I might just read that. So Dish Network Corporations is holding company. Its subsidiaries operate two primary business segments: pay TV and wireless. Its wireless business segment operates in two business units: retail wireless and 5G network deployment. The pay TV segment offers pay TV services under the Dish and the Sling brand. The Dish branded pay TV service consists of direct broadcast satellite and fixed satellite service spectrum. It's it is owned it's owned and leases satellites, receiver systems. Sorry, the text is a little small. Broadcast operations and lease their fiber optics network and in-home service. The Sling branded pay TV service consists of multi-channel, live linear streaming, over-the-top, internet-based domestic, Latino video programming services. The wireless retail unit offers nationwide prepaid and postpaid retail wireless services to subscribers under its Boost Mobile. Yeah, so I feel like this is actually pretty interesting because especially with for example, like my mom has and boomers in general just are tuned into this world of paying for cable and all of this stuff, conventional TV, and the millennials, Gen Z, whatnot. We are into whether it's streaming, we're just more internet savvy, more I grew up with cable and all of that, but I tune into YouTube. That's basically how I get a lot of my entertainment. And so I feel like there's this generation that is kind of stuck in that old way. And yeah, I feel like Dish, Sling is a nice way for people to be able to get kind of like, cable, but, it's like the digital version of it rather than the analog version, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's, yeah, I mean, Dish, it seems like like not very exciting, not very interesting. But yeah, I mean, it is beaten down a lot. Um, let's see what the analysts say about it. How many? 17 analysts. They're saying hold. Current price at 392 with a low of $1 and a high of 13. A little over 17%, closer to 18% actually, view it as a strong buy. Almost 12% view it as a buy. So that's yeah, it's basically like 60% view it as hold, uh, and then about a little over 10% underperform or sell, and then the rest of that 30% or so is buy or strong buy. So yeah, this is when I kind of yeah, and in this too, I mean it's cheap per share, so it could be, it's like why not this is on the weekly time frame, but like on the daily time frame, oh, it broke out here, but it's like why not you know, scoop up a share. It's very cheap, very low risk, and just see what happens with it. There is this gap to the upside at 526. So, it's not going to be making much money if you just have one share, but percentage wise, you could do pretty good. And yeah, for me, I try to do, I feel like smaller trades that have good percentage, because then, I get used to those percentage moves when I have bigger positions. I'd be more level headed and whatnot with them. Yeah, because you could buy tons of shares and just let it go up to this orange line. Um, but yeah, I think Dish is pretty interesting. If that video gets more views, I'll probably do a follow up. But I try to make the videos based on the engagement, not only what I'm interested in, but also what you guys are requesting and what's actually getting viewed. And actually, one of the video, I believe it was. I think SoFi was requested, and a video that I made for it last weekend. It's not tons of views. It's a pretty small channel still, but that video was getting hundreds of views over the course of a few hours. So the algorithm picked it up. That was pretty cool. And so, I'm just trying to make videos that connect with people like that. Hey, what's up? I'm doing good. So happy to continue taking suggestions. Like, for example, the Amazon. For me, like I'm not used to looking at mega caps just because, I know it's silly because you can get fractional shares, but prefer to do things by limit orders. Basically, what I do is, on Sundays or, when I'm at home, I try to set orders and then I try to not pay too close attention during the market hours because I'm at work. But sometimes work can be pretty boring and then I get in on that. But yeah, I just try to set limit orders and forget about them. But yeah, with Amazon, I mean, it's just, I'm not used to looking at things on the monthly time scale because, a lot of the stuff I'm looking at is, smaller companies, newer companies. There's just not as much history. And to see, yeah, just like this red, I mean, this is something that I picked up from Gareth Soloway. I'm not sure if he did this on Amazon specifically, but I believe he did. And, I didn't necessarily copy him for this, but I took inspiration from the videos. I watch his game plan. It's a live stream, half an hour, starting half an hour before the market opens. I always watch that when I come home from work, just because he goes over technical analysis like this, and I feel like it's just, it's just a really great practice. Awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed the Amazon one. How do I feel about Bitcoin? Yeah, so I made a couple videos about Bitcoin. Actually, the first video that I made for this channel, it had a different name back then. I made it about a year ago, just a really bad Bitcoin video. Yeah, I made two for the channel that are, accessible now. And the first one was I think around this time, this is the weekly time frame. Uh, I was thinking that, it had come up to here. This might be, a head and shoulders pattern. So I made a video suggesting that it could be a head and shoulders. I just, for me, it's like I love Bitcoin, but just there's so much noise around it, so much like arrogance and people just being like Bitcoin bros, whatnot. Even, Michael Saylor is just, um, like I understand the concept of Bitcoin and that it's just this miraculous thing. But if I'm buying Bitcoin up here because somebody like Michael Saylor is telling me it's a great thing, and then it goes down to here, that's a problem for me. And so I was waiting for it to come down to, let's see, these levels, 12. Basically, I was waiting for it to come down to 12. That didn't happen, and so in that sense, I got greedy. Um, and, I didn't pick up a position there. Do I regret it? Of course. I mean, look at how, high it is now. But at the same time, I've, I've purchased it up here. I've purchased it up here and panic sold, it's a very tough thing to, and also just the trading it safely and storing it, whatnot. I do have a Trezor hardware wallet. I currently don't have any Bitcoin now. But yeah, my plan for Bitcoin is basically, since it's not coming back down to here, it doesn't look like it is, I'm just going to start dollar cost averaging starting in January. Pretty mild DCAing. I do think that after the holidays, after Christmas, there's just going to be so much hype around it. I do think that there's going to be a pullback, and it might just be to 30K, and I'd be happy with that at this point. With the halving next year, so that's I believe happening in April, so around where the cursor is right here, I could see a pullback to this like around 30K by then before it starts to go up to make new all-time highs. But also, the 4-year cycle, stuff like that. I feel like it's getting to the point where it's starting to or should be getting more mature, so that doesn't matter as much. But I'm not really sure. But I do think that because there was a high at 69,000, that, it would just be funny if 42, like 420, was a high and then a pullback. I just think, so many people right now, the halvings next year, all of this stuff, going home for the holidays, talking to their families. If I was a whale, I would capitalize on that. I'd be pumping it up now so people FOMO into it. Then I'd rug pull them before April, and then I'd reestablish my whale positions around 30,000 when people are like, oh no, it's going to go to 12 then. For me at that point, at that close to the halving, I would want to have some Bitcoin. And I'm not a huge trader I don't have a lot of capital, so it would just be thinking about Bitcoin as like retirement basically. Sorry, delayed looking at some of the comments. Thoughts on natural gas? Think a bottom maybe. Sorry if you can't hear me that well. I'm away from the mic. My thoughts on natural gas. Do I think a bottom might be forming? Yeah. So I'm very curious to see what starts happening in the pre-market. I was just looking at gold over here. I can look at natural gas. I think this is what I was. Yeah. So I'd drawn this here. I'm not great with trading view. This might be I don't know how to. Yeah, I suck at this. How do I adjust the axis? This is so bad. Yeah, I did this yesterday. I was playing around with it. Let's see. Maybe if I just. Man. Yeah, I fumble with this. Let's see. Maybe just do this. So I kind of want to look at it in TradingView just to see if there's anything going on now, because like gold is going up even though the market hours are closed. So if I look at this on an hour time frame, yeah, it's still just there. Um, oh no, I want to go to the days. So I mean, I think that number one, I oh, ETF for Bitcoin, is that what you're talking about? Might be approved. Um, so for natural gas, I had heard something about, I don't know if it was the Red Sea or some type of, um, yeah, I don't know if there was something going on with the military over the weekend, if something was attacked. Um, and so with that, kind of with bad news like that, it's like a terrible thing about gas, oil, is that when there's conflict and stuff, these things tend to go up. And so I'm really curious to see what this starts doing in the pre-market, um, because yeah, I feel like, I mean, it's if I look at, I'm gonna switch over to back over to Webull, and I'll look at, let's see, natural gas here, UNG. So this was such a hopeful idea. It was very stupid though in the end. Month time frame, so I'm going to switch to daily. So I guess I had deleted the lines that I put up there. But basically, based on that kind of like 42 day pattern that I had noticed, which is, in all honesty, probably BS. But just thinking, I wonder if it might repeat again. And so that was basically like the last time that had happened. Let's see. I'm not sure. It might have been, this point here. Um, I'm not exactly sure. But anyways, that 42 days um, would have fallen on because of Thanksgiving, which threw it off a little bit. Actually, natural gas has a candle for the 29th. So yeah, that would have fallen on the 29th. And so I was expecting a low around here. And so, really, if, my thesis was that it's going to be low around the end of November, that's exactly what we got. And so I didn't expect it to go this low, but, in that sense, it went lower than I expected. So that, I lose confidence in my analysis, makes me doubt it. And I feel, I'm always just thinking that whenever, feeling so desperate or, anything like that, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to sell, something like that. That tends to mark a bottom. And that's how money is made by squeezing money out of retailers who can't take the pain of this coming down. And so what I see really, based on the trading view chart, based on these Fibonacci levels from this low over here on April 14th to the high up here on October 31st, this fib level, the 618, is below where we currently are. And so that would be about a 3.43% drop. I think that UNG will probably drop around 3 or 4% more. And I hope that it's able to establish a bottom there. But, it's also right around, based on this, not extension, but the retracement of Fibonacci, this level here, that's, 546, it closed almost at that level, 1 cent off. So, I feel like it could be at bottom. And, this is just, over the weekend getting people to panic. Let's see, when was this red candle? That was not over the weekend. This gap down was over the weekend. And look at this, the shape of this candle up here. That's, inverted hammer. This one, I think the open and close are the same for this day. Oh, let's see, open and close. Yeah, the same. So that's a gravestone doji, like an inverted hammer. Not good. So yeah, I'm curious. It's possible it will gap down tomorrow, and we'll have to wait and see. I hope not, especially because I had gotten used to trading Boyle just because I didn't know how to find natural gas. And, I saw Boyle. Oh, okay, I'll do that. I should have done UNG. But, I had made some gains with Boyle in the past. And, I've kind of gotten used to the volatility. I've gotten used to, it coming down and just feeling desperate. With this one, though, the two fib levels that I've drawn, current prices below them, and the drop to this white line that I have, which is right around 33 bucks. That is 6.87% drop. So that's kind of, coinciding with the natural gas drop that I had drawn in TradingView. So yeah, I mean, I think if this could be, if I thought this could be going down, 20% more, something like that. Just subbed, by the way. Oh, thank you, thank you. I was like, subbed, like substitute teaching. What? Oh, subbed. That's awesome. Thank you. um, I'm like, so it's funny. I've been doing YouTube for like since 2015. But I was working on trying to grow a channel that just didn't get views, didn't get engagement, and I had been fumbling with that over the past year, and then I just felt like, hey, I'd taken a break from trading. I'm just going to start doing live streams to do like a personal trading journal, basically documenting what I'm interested in. But then I started to make videos, made one on Boyle, made one on AMC, and yeah, this is just a lot of fun. I'm not used to this kind of awesome. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, I had not. I would do live streams with the other channel and would get very little engagement. And so this is just so fun for me. And also, I should note Tuesday this week, I have off work, so I'm probably going to be streaming in the morning just for the first half of the trading day. So if you guys are available, you're welcome to join. Probably similar to this, just chatting about stuff, trying to look at things on the hourly time frame, 10-minute time frame rather than daily. And yeah, just improving the trading and getting, and with doing this channel and stuff, I'm able to follow up on either good trades or bad trades. There's one I want to show in a minute. I'll talk about Boyle a little bit more. But there was a video I had made on American Airlines ArcX, I believe, and CAR, which is Budget Avis, and or Avis Budget, I forget which order that is. And I was calling for the bottom from them. And like all of those are up from then. But that was like a really not popular video. And so, yeah, but it's nice to make these videos and then be like, that was a good one. Robinhood, I had just a few days ago made a video and was expecting a pullback. The opposite of that happened. I'll come back to Boyle in just a second, but with the market so green on Friday, potentially bad news over the weekend, I feel like there could be a pullback tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised by that. You'll be there on Tuesday. Awesome. On Chainlink. Let's see. I do have a little crypto portfolio. I don't know if Chainlink is in it. I don't know if I can actually, it's Link, right? It'd be like Link USD. Yeah, here. Thoughts on this? To be honest, I don't have. Oh, this is not live. Let's see. What's the best way for me to? I can do that from TradingView, I believe. But yeah, I will get to Link. I just want to wrap up what I was saying about Boyle. Yeah, I mean, I think this could go down, but I don't think it's going to be going down massively. But just looking at the chart, it could be. I mean, it's like maybe think about it like we're up here and it just broke lower. And maybe, yeah, I feel like this is like a great example of just like messing with people's psychology. You have, like this, hey, higher lows, building people's confidence. It goes up, people, FOMO in, it goes down, plummets below, gaps below, this level. People panic sell here, and then it goes up. Oh, it's above that line. I'm going to buy more. And then, never to return to that level. So yeah, I mean, I do think that, yeah, I mean, there's, a relief bounce here. I'm not selling my position. I'm not really, I try to, and I try to honor the charting that I do here. Do I think based on these prices, do I think it's a discount at 34 or 33? I guess bad example, 35, 34. Yes, but I've drawn a line here that I think it's going to go slightly below 32.96. So for me personally, like I'm not planning on adding much more. But if it goes down to 33, I'll add a little bit more and then I'll reassess. And maybe that's around the level that, I decide, hey, I think it's going to keep going. And then I get rid of those shares. But yeah, I mean, I do think that I feel like it's got to be getting pretty close to a bottom. But, we'll have to see how it goes tomorrow. And so, yes, I'm going to look up, let's see. So, yes, still on. Awesome. People are going to be there on Tuesday. Sounds good. Let's see. I'm trying to get over to TradingView. And so here I can look up Link. Do I need to do USD? Thoughts on Link? I'm not really that familiar with navigating stuff with TradingView. So yeah, so this I was just talking about this before, how like Bitcoin had, when it hit the all-time high and then came back down and then went up to 69K, that had a higher high. And so and then it came down, after that. And that was, it's making all new all-time highs, people FOMOing in, and then they get rug pulled. And so this with Link, and I don't look at Link ever. So much of what I say may not be credible at all, but just, thinking about this, I'm just going to draw it to, it's touching all of these wicks there. Oh, get back to the cursor tool. Because that's a lower high, and then I can, let's see, I don't know where I want to draw this from. But yeah, I mean, that, I could see this pulling back down to 1480, something like that. What's it? It's at 1588 now. Yeah, so I think it could drop a buck, retest this as support, and then break through the top of that wedge. That's what I see happening, because this has really only tested it once, twice, third time, third time's a charm. I don't know if that's actually legitimate with this, but just, the psychology of it and stuff. I think that this, coming back down to test this as support and then breaking above. But at the same time, overall, generally, I'm not into crypto right now. I have been in the past. Some of it's been successful, but it's just kind of an area that I wasn't too familiar with, and by the time I got familiar with it, I was waiting on the sidelines. But yeah, I mean, I think that this does look like a good formation. If this does pull back to, like I said, 1480, something around there, and it looks like maybe a tail comes below this line, but it closes above. If you get a close below, let's see, I'd say connecting the bottom of this tail on November 17th and the bottom, either the open on November 22nd or the bottom, the low on November 27th. I think those should be lined up pretty nicely. And then you have multiple touch points. Also, right here on December 1st. And so, yeah, if it comes back to this level, if you get a close below it, there are no closes below this line right now. If you get a close below it, I think that's bad. But if it wicks down, closes above, I think that'd be a really good sign. And yeah, this is actually, kind of intriguing. I should make a note for myself. I don't know if I have a pen around. I'm gonna note this down to set an alert for Link at, the pen I grabbed doesn't work. link at 1480. Just out of curiosity, I probably won't do anything with it. But yeah, I mean, I think that's, buy one link for 1480, one coin. Let's see. Yeah, no problem. Hopefully that's helpful. But yeah, I do feel like a pullback will happen, but I think that could be a bullish thing, making it stronger here with that support. But yeah, I don't have any requests right now. I'm gonna go over. Basically, it's not too exciting because it's an ETF, but ARKX. I'm actually gonna pull it up on my phone to see when exactly I released the video. But I made a video on ARKX, American Airlines, and CAR, Avis Budget, right around the beginning of November. So I'm just going to scroll through the channel, see when I put that out. It was one of my earlier videos before I started doing them so frequently. Let's see. So I made that video a month ago, October 30th. The title of that video, American Airlines, Avis, and ARK Space at Trendline Support, thoughts on those stocks. And I put out a video with a thumbnail at Trendline Support, question mark. And so on the 30th, basically I was suggesting there could be a bottom. And, let's see, we'll go from the high. Oops, I don't want that tool. Let's go from the high of the 30th to the price now. Up 15%. I guess that's not insane. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So for me, what I did, I had a, small position, just kind of entertaining the idea from that video. And just, because I had conviction in it, I ended up selling, I believe, on November 3rd because I saw it coming to this, the top of this channel. And, I just didn't want to be holding it for too long. So it would have been like a week and a half of sideways before this gap up. By the time that gap up happened, I was out. I was not thinking about it. But, I do think that's pretty cool. Moves up where there's resistance. And then, yeah, I mean, this is actually a beautiful example. So I'm actually going to adjust this channel so it extends to the right. And so so we see, an open outside of that channel, but it's not terribly significant. I think what's probably most useful is, from this close, I want to see basically a close above that level. And then the day that really though, ideally you want to see a close above the wick, but seeing a close above that level, there's some more movement, and then, you get that sign. It's like this breaks out of the channel. Okay, I'm out because I think it's going to get rejected. What was the close of that day? Set an alert there. If it closes higher than that, that's a bullish sign. The next day it gaps up. So that's, beautiful analysis there retrospectively. But yeah, I mean, the call here was great. The exit here was good if I didn't want to be waiting around. But I could have, why am I exiting that day? Because it bumped in the channel. Okay. And it's also looks like it's, a bearish, inverted hammer. But, what was the close of that day? Okay. Have an alert. If it goes above that level, think about it. If it closes above that level, buy some, gap up. So I think that's a pretty cool thing there. And I'm actually a casual stream. Hopefully you're all enjoying a beverage. It's tough to be drinking while talking so much. But yeah, in that video, so October 30th, right here, and this is also too, it had been testing that line, October 30th here, and and I was actually exchanging with somebody. It might have been Wall Street Bets. I'm not sure on Reddit. I just recently got onto Reddit. I've had it for a while, but I just started using it a little bit more. I was talking to somebody about how, I felt like airlines are going to turn around just because there are no closes above the tops of these wicks. Now there's a close above them, so that's like a bullish sign. This gap up here could be filled. And so what I would think might happen with this is there could be a pullback and coming down. As long as it closes above, like 1250, above this open for the first, I might actually set an alert for myself there. Create an alert. Excuse me. Let's see. I'll do 12. I'll do 1260 in case I miss out. If it goes below, I'll be alerted. Because with this candle, I think that's a pretty bullish move. It might pull back, retrace a little bit, and let's see, what was this white line at? 1260. And then it might continue up to 1408. So I think that's pretty interesting, but it didn't fill, it's got these gaps to the downside. So I think I did have a position in American. I think I started accumulating over here. So by the time it was down to here, I broke even when I sold my shares. I made a few bucks. But I felt like it'd be pulling back with these gaps to the downside, but better to be safe than sorry. Drinking some coffee. Awesome. And then also with that video, CAR, let's see, October 30th. So not exactly the bottom, but then this, is pretty close to the bottom. And so the change in price, let's say from the high of that day, if you got in a little too late, that's almost 20% up. You would have made more than 20%. But you're holding on to that and gaps up like this and closes like this. Maybe it's not going to continue the next day, but then it does, so it's tough. This is, and I feel like I need to make, so I've been making playlists of, basically all of the stocks, individual stocks that I do. But I was thinking I should do playlists of good calls as well as bad calls. Some of the things that I suggest, the opposite's going to happen. Some of them, like these three that I just showed, spot on. Just to, really kind of, for my own purposes, how many calls do I make that stand out as good? One of them that stood out to me as, not necessarily bad, but I made one on Chegg. Let's see, I'm going to put the corporate actions up. So earnings was right around here, and I made a video before earnings suggesting that I think I was suggesting that there was maybe bullish divergence. I'm not sure. I don't have the line drawn up here anymore. But like around this time, after maybe a couple green days, I was thinking, it could be bullish going into earnings. But then it ran up before earnings. And so I had some just a couple calls. I made a small, percentage-wise a good amount, but not very much money. And really just practicing the discipline with options and stuff like that. And but then it dumped following earnings. And I remember looking at this and being like, I wasn't making videos as frequently then, but I was looking at it and thinking, man, I wonder if this is a buy the dip opportunity. I feel like it probably is, but I didn't really make the best video on Chegg, so I'm just going to leave it alone. I'll leave that one alone. And so I didn't do anything with it for myself or make a video, but from the, let's do it from the close of that day. Up to the high, over 40%. And, looking at it now with this big move up, that to me, get the, I don't know if parallel might be better than this channel tool. But that looks like, it's a downtrending channel. It looks like bullish consolidation. That looks like a bull flag. And so I could see that. Really, this level right here, 1075 about, let's see, the high, 1073, that's going to be a tough level to get above because, you've got all of these other wicks over here. This one candle that broke above, that fault, like earnings, pretty crazy. So I think that I think that this could be in a position to break above 1075. I think it could be in a position to fill this gap. Nah, I don't want to say that. Um, but yeah, um, for that, yeah, I'm intrigued by this, but I feel like it's a little late. Hmm. Oh, let's see. Thinking about earnings. Oh, GameStop. I might pull up GameStop. I don't know if you guys are into GameStop or anything like that, but I feel like this is with earnings coming up. I don't want to see this gap here before earnings because that makes me think there's going to be a sell-off following earnings. Um, but yeah, these lines that I had drawn, close above this orange one, then it dumps below. This, let's see what was the high on Friday. The high 15.99, almost at 16. Um, yeah, this doesn't look too. It's tough. It doesn't look too bullish, but I mean, it's not. It didn't really drop much lower than this. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this in the pre-market, but it could always just be fake out, and the opposite when the bell rings. But yeah, I'd really like to see this gap filled before earnings. And yeah, oh, and one thing too that I think I had mentioned it in the I think the buy or video about selling covered calls. I don't know if you guys do that ever, but I found that to be especially in positions that like GameStop. I have a fair amount of shares. That I've accumulated over a while, enough to be able to sell covered calls. And, it's like, oh, well, I'm just sitting on those shares. If you look at, let's see, the options um, so for the week, let's see, oh, are these are calls, okay. And so, yeah, it's at 15.30 now. I'm actually surprised there aren't. Let's see. Oh, because I've limited the number. Let's see, 20. I could put more up there. 30. Okay, yes, this goes up to. I'll do all. Why am I limiting myself? It goes up to 25. So, like, let's say, let's say I have a position in GameStop at $24 a share. And I don't want to sell them. I want to diamond hand them. But looking at the Max Payne to get an idea of what options might expire at on Friday, I don't believe they're at 25. I believe they're around 14 or 15. And so, let's say I don't want to sell at 24. I don't want to sell at break even. If I had to, I could sell at 25. And so you could get, $30, $29 to say, for these 100 shares, I'll sell them at $25 on Friday next week if the price is above $25, at or above $25. And so I don't think it's going to squeeze to $25 next week. And so that can be a nice way to bring in some money with pretty low risk. It becomes risky if it's like, let's say my average is at 25, but I'm selling covered calls at with the strike price of 20 to get $70 rather than 30. And then so if it closes at $20.05, I would then have to sell all those 100 shares at $20 at a loss. But I've actually had to do that with AMC. I did sell covered call probably a year ago. There was a squeeze or something. Nothing that was, I think it was short lived, and it sucked. I had to get rid of those shares, but I just ended up buying them back anyways, at the same price. So it wasn't a big deal. And so, while holding positions, you can be making a little bit of money on that. And I think a lot of brokerages or, Webull, Robinhood, they do, like stock lending. So if you have shares, you can lend them out. And it's basically, I think what they're doing, the market makers are doing is basically selling covered calls, something like that. And so I don't lend out my shares. passively. I do it actively by looking at the options table and, gauging my risk, what level I think that they might expire at. And I try to sell with a strike price that's well above what I think it will close at, and ideally above my average price. So if I do have to sell at the end of the week, I'm selling in profit. I could buy back if it dips down, or be happy that I made some money. And so yeah, covered calls are awesome. I think it's a nice strategy to bring in some money while holding, stocks that you enjoy holding. But yeah, I'm curious about this one with earnings. I feel like, the video that I made on ChargePoint and Chewy, I I'm not really confident, because I have no idea, but I think just looking at the chart, and maybe it's just, so obvious that the opposite's going to happen. But I feel like with this big gap here, ChargePoint, has to be going to the upside, especially because I think there was some news that they put out. Let's see, they put out some like fast charging. I don't know where the news would be. I thought they had put out some fast charging chargers, and I had actually, somebody on Twitter was critiquing a post I had on ChargePoint. I think it was just a photo of one of their charging stations. They're like, yeah, but it's slow. I'd rather charge with something faster. It was at a grocery store, so while you're doing your groceries, you want your car to be charging fast. But so it seems like ChargePoint is ramping up their charging stations, and but yeah, that also takes capital investment, stuff like that. So maybe that's why it's so low. But yeah, with this gap here, with this downtrending channel, earnings right here, I would think that it would break to the upside. But who knows? Let's see. Analysts say hold. For almost over 40% say buy. But current price is $2. The low is $2. But yeah, I mean, this is just, like comparing this with something like Amazon. Amazon has all of that price history. You can look at it on the monthly time frame. You have tons of data. Something like ChargePoint, there's just not enough history to, feel confident. If I do this on the monthly, it's the beginning of a chart. That's, of a company that could be dying. Who knows? Whereas Amazon, is just so much history there. Chewy, I think has a good amount more history, I believe. Yeah, but still not that much. But yeah, with this chart, this big candle coming down, earnings right there. I mean, I'm not sure. Yeah. Any other requests? I'm happy to just, fumble through this and just pick random stuff. Fisker, that was, pretty popular video. Basically, if one of my videos gets over 100 views in a day or in a week, to me, that's successful. And so Fisker, I think it might be over 200. I'm not sure. So this is, I might want to follow up on it. But yeah, like there's a close below it. It's, how things, it's designed to, psych you out, get you to sell. There's a close below this line on the 30th, and then a close above it on the 1st. So yeah, that's tricky. And I don't even know how credible this line is. I just like, yeah. Oh, one thing I don't do too much is Fibonacci retracements. So let's see. I don't know where I'd want to do this from. Let's see, I'll maybe just go from there to there. I'm going to adjust the settings so there are more of these levels. Yeah, so nothing around there with that one. Let's see, maybe from here to there. I don't know how precise I was with that. Yeah, just in between two levels, so not really that useful there. Maybe from the bottom here to the high. And how do I move this to get it where I want it? Right there. Yeah. Yeah, Ford. I've kind of wanted to do a video on Ford. Wow, that's funny. Basically I usually use the ray tool, so whenever I have trend lines that are just like this that don't extend into the future, it was just like, I'm just throwing this up to entertain myself. I probably did this during a live stream or something. But yeah, breakout, pull back, breakout again. That's pretty interesting. Still a gap to fill here a little bit. Let's see. Somebody was asking about this one. Nextera. I had thought about doing a video on Nextera Energy, NEE, around this, yellow line, thinking, hey, maybe that's the bottom. I should do a video on it. And I didn't do a video on it, and that ended up being the bottom. And so let's see, with this one, I think, oh, that's the wrong tool. I want the ray. So here, getting that low, coming up here. These are just going to be kind of rough lines. With that, I'm not sure if that's bullish or bearish because it's, the downtrending, this big drop here. But, yeah, so I mean, basically, this could break to either the upside or the downside is what I would think. It's, basically whenever you see a break below one of these lines, then that might tell you the direction, but maybe that could be a fake out too. And actually this line is drawn a little sloppy. Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting, that wedge thing that's forming there. And actually, yeah, I mean, I wonder if I could extend this back. Are there any points? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably just a little hand wavy. Yeah, I think that's how I would look at this. I wait to see if it's gonna break out. So basically $27. I'm gonna put an alert at $27. If it goes above, let's see, hopefully it has the extension there. Yeah, if it goes above that level and it looks strong, looks like it's holding, I think that could be a breakout, maybe even to fill this gap up here at 45. Yeah, somebody was asking if I thought this could go to 40 by the end of the year. By the end of the year, I'm not sure, but if this does break out of the wedge, I do think, I mean, because there's, yeah, let's look at the chart history. I guess, yeah, there is some, I was thinking, oh, there's not going to be much price action over here, but this is not all-time lows. It was there before. Let's see, maybe, what's going on with this? Kind of a rough line, but let's see where that falls when we switch this over to the daily. Right in the middle there. So I was thinking that'd be cool if it connected up here. Touch point there, that looks pretty good. Yeah. All right. Oh, and I've been going for over an hour. That's crazy. I don't know that people are still here. Sometimes I see where there's nobody watching, but then I get a live chat. But, I think since I've been doing this for more than an hour, I'm gonna get signing off. Um, Unless I get anything coming in the live chat. But if you're still watching and stuff, thank you so much. Please make sure you like the video, share your thoughts, whether in the live stream or comments below, or live chat, I should say, and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing these live streams every Sunday. I will be going on vacation in a couple weeks, so I won't be doing it then. Unlikely to be. But I'm going to try to make at least one video every single day, possibly not Fridays, just because, it's nice. It's nice to take a little bit of a break. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. This is the most engagement. I feel like the most constructive engagement that I've ever had with a live stream before. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for the subs. And yeah, I look forward to putting out more videos tomorrow. I don't know if I'll do one on AMC. Actually, well, I don't think anybody's here right now. I might just look at AMC to see. No, I don't want the news. This is the daily. Yeah, so with AMC, I've really just noticed it's, yeah, what's this downtrending line based on? Okay, so there are no closes below that line. And so, yeah, I mean, if we do see lower closes, that's not necessarily bad. This is just not, I don't know that this video would take off because it's kind of been boring. But I'll have to make an AMC video tomorrow, probably go over NEP as well, and then Earnings Whispers exchange with me on, or they responded to me about having a request for, let's see, AVGO before earnings. Man, that's going to be a tough one. AVGO, and then also, what was the other one? DocuSign. Those are, yeah, those will be interesting. But they've got, a good amount of history, I believe. So there's more for me to work with. So yeah. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching. This was a super fun stream. And yeah, I'll be doing this Tuesday morning. So I'll check in with you guys then. If not with, the